This is Matthew Cratter from Bitcoin University. Today I wanted to answer the question, will BlackRock fork Bitcoin? This is a common question on the channel. What if BlackRock forks the network into a proof-of-stake Bitcoin and immediately dumps all of its proof-of-work Bitcoin at the market? I think this is the plan. If we take a look at the original S1, which was the registration statement that BlackRock filed before it issued its ETF, we find this language, quote, in the event of a fork, the sponsor, which is BlackRock or iShares, the sponsor will determine which network it believes is generally accepted as the Bitcoin network and should therefore be considered the appropriate network and the associated asset as Bitcoin for the trust purposes. The sponsor, BlackRock, may decide to cause the trust to sell any incidental rights or IR virtual currency for cash, parenthesis, including as determined by the sponsor, in the case of a fork, the asset that is not generally accepted as Bitcoin, or in the case of an airdrop, the airdropped asset. So what's going on here? Anyone can fork Bitcoin. You can do it. I can do it. BlackRock can do it. This is something that's already possible today and has been possible since 2009. A fork is just where you copy Bitcoin's code, make some changes, and then start running the new version of the code. You have hard forks, which are not backwards compatible. You have soft forks, which are backwards compatible. But at this point, if you fork Bitcoin, if you fork the software, at that point, it's just software running on your computer. So now what you need to do is to get other people involved. Otherwise, it's just like you created a new language that only you can speak, and there's really no point to that. If you want to have a network, you have to have nodes on the network. So you need to get other people to agree to run your new version of the Bitcoin software, your forked version. And that's the really tricky part. Anyone can change the code, but not anyone can get all of the nodes in the world, or a majority of the nodes, or a significant percentage of the nodes to run the Bitcoin software, the new Bitcoin software. And it's important to note that the Bitcoin network is not a democracy. There's no vote. People just run whatever software they want. If you run similar software to other people, then you're in consensus and you function as a network. But if you start doing your own thing and playing by your own rules, then you've essentially forked off the network and are running your own implementation. So you need to get other people or nodes to agree to run your new version of the Bitcoin software. That's the really tricky part. Personally, I'm never going to run BlackRock's version of Bitcoin software on my node. I'm going to keep running a version of Bitcoin Core, and you probably will too. But maybe some of the crappy actors in the space like Coinbase will join BlackRock and run the new software. Coinbase is, of course, the main custodian for BlackRock's ETF, and they hold all of the BTC behind it. So maybe some of the crappy actors like Coinbase will join BlackRock, run the new fork software. And if BlackRock can get a few groups to do it, then they will have succeeded in creating a parallel Bitcoin network, maybe a proof-of-stake version of it, complete with nodes that run the BlackRock version of Bitcoin. If you're enjoying this video so far, I just ask you to hit the subscribe button. That really, really helps out the channel. It does make a difference. Hit the like button, leave a question, comment, suggestion, topic for a future video, and share this video with a friend or a family member that you think might be interested in Bitcoin. So what happens now? Now there will be two Bitcoin networks, each with its own native digital asset. We'll have crappy corporate BlackRock BTC, let's call it B-BTC, and then we'll have the original Bitcoin that we all know and love and hold today. We can keep calling that BTC. In the case of a hard fork like this, as BlackRock alluded to in that S1 language that we just discussed, holders of BTC will likely receive an airdrop of the new tokens of the B-BTC. And so if you own one Bitcoin today, you'll probably get one B-BTC for free. What am I going to do with my B-BTC? I'm going to sell it for BTC, or in worst case scenario, sell it for US dollars. And then I'll take those US dollars and I'll buy more BTC because I don't want to hold BlackRock BTC. Coinbase will probably list BlackRock BTC, and we'll get to watch whether it appreciates relative to BTC or collapses relative to BTC. So again, we have these two networks, each with their own asset. Now, this sort of fork is exactly what happened with Bcash, with BCH. Bcash forked away from BTC and proceeded to die a very long, slow, and painful death starting in, I believe it was 2017. Here's a chart of Bcash versus Bitcoin. As this chart goes down, it shows Bcash collapsing relative to the real Bitcoin. Today, Bcash's market cap is about 8.3 billion, while Bitcoin's market cap is over 1.3 trillion. So we can see which network won here. This isn't to say that Bitcoin Cash won't be around forever as this pathetic little sort of penny stock of the area, but Bitcoin BTC is really where the economic value is and where the action is. When BlackRock set up their Bitcoin ETF, they didn't use Bcash, they used BTC. So this is what can happen in the case of a fork. And the forks in Bitcoin like this, the hard forks, have been very bad for those forking away, like the Bcashers. It's been a complete disaster for them. Now, if BlackRock decides to dump the BTC that's backing its ETF and keep its B-BTC, its BlackRock BTC, then the BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF will have become essentially the BlackRock Spot B-BTC ETF. And that's a fine thing, but I'm not interested. I'm not interested in any coin run by BlackRock or Coinbase or Binance or really anyone else, especially if it's a proof of stake coin and one of those corporate entities like BlackRock has a monopoly on block production because they own the majority of the tokens. This is what happens under proof of stake, where owning more coins gives you more power over the network. This is not true for proof of work, which is one of the things that makes BTC very, very special. So I'm not interested in any coin run by BlackRock, and especially if they're the validator or they control a lot of the block production, if they control many of the validators and can thus decide under proof of stake which transactions to include and which transactions they can censor. There's no point having a money like this. This is not freedom money, and so I'm not going to hold it. Other people who value freedom money won't hold it either. They're going to dump it, just like me, causing Bitcoin BTC to appreciate against BlackRock BTC. And I don't think it's just going to be libertarians and OG Bitcoiners who like freedom money. It's also every single government in the world that doesn't want to be controlled by another government's money, and certainly doesn't want to be under BlackRock's thumb. Iran, China, Russia, almost every country in the world would not want to have to answer to BlackRock and the US government if they had a choice. Also, every single person or entity in the world, as I said, that doesn't want to be under the control of BlackRock. Do you think that Google or Apple or even JP Morgan want to be under the control of BlackRock? It's quite unlikely. If you want a captured controlled currency, you can just keep holding US dollars like you may do today. There's some other groups that want freedom money as well. I would say that's every billionaire in the world. They don't want BlackRock to determine which transactions they can send and which transactions they can't. So every billionaire in the world wants freedom money. Every nation state in the world, every central bank in the world, they don't want to give up their power to the US or to a US corporation like BlackRock. So they will all stick with BTC, as you and I will. Will a hard fork like this happen? It's possible, but unlikely. What's more likely is that BlackRock will just keep pumping BTC through its marketing, thus increasing the price of Bitcoin, the market cap of BlackRock's Bitcoin Spot ETF, and thus the amount of management fees, which are a percentage of this assets under management, the amount of management fees that BlackRock can collect. They're primarily interested in making money on this thing. But if a hard fork were to happen, BlackRock BTC would probably just end up slowly dying like Bcash has done. If you don't want to be at the mercy of BlackRock or any other Wall Street firm today, then don't buy a Bitcoin ETF. Instead, buy the real thing. Buy BTC using Swan Bitcoin, River Financial, Strike, Unchained Capital. These are all good places to buy it that are Bitcoin-only companies. And that way you will end up owning the real thing instead of a Bitcoin IOU like the Bitcoin ETFs are. And then once you've bought that BTC on the exchange, make sure you don't leave it there. Instead, withdraw it to a hardware wallet that you control, like a Blockstream Jade or a Cold Card. If you do that and you run your own Bitcoin node, then no one can take away your freedom money. Everyone's free to fork off and do whatever they want to do, but you will still be running BTC along with other freedom money loving people, and you will still have your own node to do Bitcoin transactions with. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video, and let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.